Before the Christmas lights were turned on and before the music softened the room, she was already breaking inside. The papers trembled in her hands as tears blurred the ink. And no one at the glittering office Christmas party noticed the quiet woman standing near the window, signing away her marriage while snow fell gently outside. To everyone else, she was just another forgotten spouse at a crowded celebration. No one knew she was a billionaire's wife, for that the signature she placed that night would change every life in the room. Before we begin, if you believe in compassion, humanity, and the power of small acts to change lives, then please support love and kindness stories by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and sharing it with others. Your support keeps these powerful stories alive and helps them reach hearts all around the world. Her name was Clara, and for 3 years she had learned how to disappear in plain sight. She worked quietly in the finance department of her husband's corporation, never using his last name, never asking for favors, never letting anyone see how heavy her heart had become. She had married Daniel before the world knew his name, before investors and magazines turned him into a symbol of success. Back then, he laughed easily, listened deeply, and promised that no matter how high he climbed, he would never let go of her hand. But money has a way of changing rooms and people, and slowly, the space between them became wider than any distance. The Christmas party was meant to celebrate record-breaking profits, champagne success, and a future brighter than the lights strung across the ceiling. Clara had planned not to attend, but Daniel insisted, saying appearances mattered. She arrived alone, wearing a simple dress she had owned for years. Watching employees admire decorations paid for by millions she technically owned but emotionally felt disconnected from. Daniel moved through the crowd like a star, smiling, shaking hands, surrounded by people who spoke to him as if he were untouchable. He never looked her way. The divorce papers came from his assistant earlier that evening, delivered casually, almost professionally, as if ending a marriage was just another transaction. Clara found a quiet corner near the window, where the city lights reflected her face, back at her like a stranger. Her hands shook as she signed each page, tears slipping silently onto the paper. She didn't cry loudly or dramatically. Her pain was the kind that sinks inward, the kind that feels like winter settling into bones. What no one knew was that Clara was not losing everything that night. She was giving it back. She had signed an agreement that left Daniel the company, the headlines, and the applause. She kept something far more powerful, her dignity, her freedom, and a secret he had never bothered to ask about. Years earlier, she had inherited a quiet fortune from her grandmother, built on real estate and long-term investments. She never told Daniel because she believed love didn't need leverage. She believed partnership meant equality of hearts, not numbers. As the party continued, something shifted. A junior employee nearby dropped a tray of glasses, panic flashing across his face as managers frowned. Clara knelt instinctively to help, her tears drying as she focused on comforting a stranger. Others joined, and for a moment, hierarchy dissolved into simple human kindness. It was small, but it reminded her who she was before she became invisible. That night, after the party ended, and Daniel never once asked why her eyes were red, Clara walked out into the cold air, feeling strangely lighter. The next morning, she resigned quietly, leaving behind a note thanking the team for the lessons she learned. Within weeks, news broke that a new foundation had purchased several struggling community centers across the city. The name behind it was unfamiliar to the press, but the impact was immediate. Shelters reopened. Scholarships appeared. Single parents received help without cameras or applause. Daniel noticed the changes too late. Investors whispered about a mysterious benefactor stabilizing neighborhoods he had once ignored. When he finally learned the truth, it came not from Clara, but from financial reports showing assets he never knew existed. The woman he thought he had outgrown the need to be seen beside him. Clara rebuilt her life quietly, deliberately. She traveled without assistance, listened more than she spoke, and poured her wealth into places where hope had nearly run out. The pain of the divorce never fully disappeared, but it transformed into purpose. She learned that love given without respect becomes a lesson, not a legacy. Years later, at another Christmas season, Clara stood outside a community hall watching children decorate a tree that once would have been cut down for budget reasons. Their laughter filled the air, warm and real. She felt peace not because she had won, but because she had survived with her heart intact. If this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Love and Kindness Stories so more meaningful stories like this can reach the world. Before the ending, we have a special request. Please comment below and tell us where you are watching from and what this story made you feel. Somewhere far away, a man once celebrated success without realizing what he had lost. And somewhere closer, a woman who cried while signing divorce papers discovered that sometimes losing someone is the moment you finally find yourself.